All right, we're on, and it's 7:31, or it's 31 after,
Okay,
wherever
perfect.
you are.
All right, so from what I could tell, we didn't really have any pre-work. It looked like we could do all of this now.
Yeah,
Hopefully I didn't misunderstand that.
yeah, we can do that now.
The only part I wasn't sure on was part B, as far as use the LPI questions below, but I don't know. It just seemed a little vague.
Yeah, we'll go through it. Let's just start with part A, and then we'll work our way down, and then we'll figure it out as we go. I kind of read through it, and I did part A because that kind of basically we have to choose two different. We can either choose Virginia Woolf to do that LPI scale on, one of like either one of us, like each other, Ganep, or you can choose two different people from your work, and that's what I did.
Oh, okay.
Or you can choose the Captain James Cook guy.
Okay.
But I feel like we already did that.
Yeah, I think we did. All right, so which A are we going to do? We need two of them, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you were just saying just now. Sorry.
Yeah. So I chose two coworkers, different coworkers.
Okay.
And it was funny because they turned out pretty different in some areas and obviously the same in some areas, but so one of them is my boss, and I put down that he sets an example of what he expects of others, and I gave him a 10 for that because he's pretty clear about what he expects. I gave him an 8 for seeking out challenges or opportunities, and then the other person I gave a 7. Develops cooperative relationships among people. I gave my boss a 7 because sometimes he gets a little hot-headed. And sometimes, and the other person is very level-headed. He's always able to stay centered and grounded, and that's a good attribute to have. Praises people for a job well done. My boss is pretty good about like rewarding us for our hard work, whether it's at the end of the year with our raises or our bonuses or whatever it is. And the other person I don't really know because he's never been my boss. So I gave him a 9 because he hasn't been my boss yet. So I don't know if he's.
That was very nice of you then.
Yeah, I should have gave him a 0.
Or not applicable.
Yeah, NA. Actively listens to diverse points of view. I gave my boss a 10. Makes it a point to let people know about his or her confidence. I gave him a 10. I basically gave him a 10 on everything except for ask for feedback on how his or her actions affect other people's performance. I gave him an 8, and then experiments and takes risks. Even when there's a chance of failure, I give him an 8.
Wow, so you think really highly of him?
Yeah, he's a good boss.
That's good.
The other guy, I gave him a 5 on experiments and takes risks because he doesn't. We cure these boxes. We call them a box. It's like the horizontal stabilizers on there, and we have to. At that point in time, before we put it in this big giant oven, it's like $300,000 part. So, and we've had to kind of go at risk in some occasions where, things weren't really where we wanted it to be, but my boss is always like, well, let's just go forward, and it seems to work out in his favor. Yeah. And the other boss is like, stop everything. We're going to stop it all. We're going to stop the line. And
that probably costs you guys like loads of money if you have to stop the line, right?
Yeah, it's like someone's getting fired.
Oh, geez.
If you hold up the line up in like Seattle or Charleston, like the final assembly lines, it's a big deal.
Depending on what you're making at the time, because Starbucks, we just make coffee, but we have a schedule to keep with the product. It's the same, though. It's not like someone's getting fired if the line's down, but they'll be asking why the hell is the line down. It's a maintenance issues, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
So I guess
machinery-
then that's kind of that answer or the score that you give to people could really be good or bad depending on, like an 8 in that case could be good or it could be bad if they take, like too many risks or whatever.
Right.
The
If
fact that
those
they're
risks
willing
would
to
have
take
resulted
risks.
in like the loss of that part, that's
Right.
$300,000 worth of man hours and materials that we just threw down the drain.
Right.
Like they can't afford it.
Yeah, no kidding. Does it smell good at your work, Krista?
Huh?
Does it smell good at your work, like coffee beans?
You smell it more outside, actually.
Really?
When you're pulling up, because there's exhaust piping that goes out to the roof, so it's all the steam and stuff from the roasting process has to release into the air.
And that's where you smell it, huh?
Yeah, so you'll smell it like downwind, you'll smell coffee. Inside, not so much. I mean, depending on the type of coffee they're making, like at the pack line, when they do blend back for damaged bags, it still has good coffee in there, so they put it back. They put it into a hopper that goes and puts it back to the process, and that stuff will start smelling pretty potent if it's like brown.
I love the smell of coffee. When I like make coffee in the morning, I'm like sticking my head in the Folgers can.
I like the smell, but I don't like real coffee. I like frappuccinos and stuff. But I can appreciate the smell. That's funny. All right, so are you done with your 2, Wes?
Yeah, I'm good. We
Okay.
can talk more about it if you guys want.
All right, so I can go next. I just got a new job last week, so I'll try to answer this about the people that I'm with right now.
You're not with State Farm anymore?
I'm still in State Farm. I got a new job in the tech side of things.
Right on.
So yeah, I'm excited about it. All right, so sets a personal example. Oh, I'm going to do my new boss, who I've known for a long time, so it'll be way easier for her. Sets a personal example of what he and she expects of others. I would probably say a 9. She's pretty laid back, and I haven't come across any reason to feel like I'm not doing what she wants me to do yet. She's really, I didn't get much direction at all in this job. And so far everything's dandy and she thinks I'm doing great. So I'll take it. Seeks out challenging opportunities that test his or her own skills and abilities. I would say she's probably a 7 here. She knows that she's not techie. She's just a very good leader. She's a rock star leader, but she doesn't understand what the team does. And she owns that, which I think is a really big part of being successful. Because I've had bosses that try to get too far into the weeds, and I'm like, just stay up there, man. You don't get paid for all this.
They know what they're doing and they don't.
Stick up there.
It's fake it till you make it. That's
Right.
what that's all about.
That's what I'm doing right now. She would definitely be a 10 on develops cooperative relationships. She's awesome at relationship building, especially since she doesn't have the tech side of things. She's really good at trying to bring what she knows into layman's terms to use it with our other business areas, which is partly what I'll be doing as well. So she's awesome at that. She has told me herself that she's not very good about praising other people for a job well done. I think it's just something that people forget to do, and something that as a leader, I hope that I don't forget to do that, because I know how great it is to hear from, especially your leader, how great you're doing. So I would say she's probably a 6, but I still like her. Actively listens, definitely a 10 for sure, no doubt. Makes it a point to let people know about her confidence. That's probably a 10 also. She knows that we're the experts, or my team, I'll get there. And lets everybody do their thing. And that's part of the reason that she's so hands off. She knows that the team can do it and can handle it. Treats others with dignity and respect, definitely a 10. Ask for feedback. I don't think I can answer that one yet. We had a one-on-one, but that didn't necessarily come up. So I think that one is NA for me. Experiments and takes risks. I don't think I know that one yet either. Ensures that people grow in their jobs. Definitely a 10. She's super good about, like, if we have some kind of development coming out, she'll send us an email and say, like, here's a class you guys can take if you want. We have a lot of that at State Farm, which is really nice. And, oh, this one's little. Gives members of the team lots of appreciation.
Oh, I didn't do that one.
Yeah, 9. It's small. It's in small font, but it is there. All right, so one other person. I'll do someone on my last team who would be really kind of a contrast to this. Sets a personal example. That would be a 3. She is not anything that I want.
Throwing shade out there.
I know. It's just for contrast.
Person to you.
She was an old peer on my last team.
So just a coworker on your team.
Yep. Yeah, just a peer, not a leader. And hopefully will never be a leader because I don't think she'd be a very good one. Seeks out challenging opportunities. No.
She kind of like set in her own ways. She just likes her little job, and that's.
Yeah, and kind of like the kind of a person that would be too afraid to seek out a challenge for fear of failure, and she wants like everyone to think that she's great and perfect all the time. So I think she has room to grow there. We'll leave it at that. I'd say she's probably a 3. Develops cooperative relationships. Wow, maybe I shouldn't have picked this person.
3.
That's also a 3. Only with people that as far as I was able to tell, she would only develop relationships with people that could eventually like scratch her back later. Like one of those. Praises people for a job well done. She was pretty good at that. I would say that's probably an 8. Definitely does not listen to diverse points of view. That would be a 2. Makes it a point to let people know about her confidence in their abilities. 5. Treats others with dignity and respect. Also 5. We'll give her a 6 sometimes. Ask for feedback. Never. That's a 1. Experiments and takes risks. 2. Ensure that people grow in their jobs. 1. Gives members of the team lots of appreciation for their contributions. Yeah, probably a 6. So I learned a lot of lessons from working with her, for sure. A lot of things that I never wanted people to even remotely perceive me as. And
that's good though, because sometimes you need to know what not to do, or who you don't want, you know.
Well, and she also like forced me to develop in ways like to learn how to deal with somebody like that. I'm not really used to that. Luckily, they're pretty like sparse, I think, people like that. But sadly, I think this individual is one of those people that can schmooze her way into an actual leadership position, which it is just sad because it just wouldn't be.
Did she like hold on to knowledge? Because I know, like in the textbook, or in the book, it talks about like, you know, building trust or fostering collaboration. You have to share knowledge and educate people on the process and stuff.
Yeah.
There's people at my work that like hold on to certain things because they think it like gives them an upper hand.
Oh, like that. Yeah. That's
That's
exactly it. Yeah. No.
Tribal knowledge type of stuff too.
Yeah, like tribal knowledge. Like if they left tomorrow, then no one would be able to do the job properly.
Yeah, that's exactly what she would do. She's a hoarder.
That's such a horrible thing to do.
I know.
Well, it's like with their way to feel special and important. Oh, I'm the only one who do this, so I'm valuable and they need me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what I think. Exactly what I think it is too.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I am grateful that I had the experience to work with her because it really did teach me a lot of lessons. But I hope eventually she kind of grows herself too.
All right, I guess I'll go. So I'll probably do similar. My boss and then a coworker on my team right now. So first, my boss, Christiane. She is awesome. She's just a sweet, sweet lady. One of those people that you feel like you can actually talk to like a person, you know, kind of share some things about yourself that may not necessarily be favorable, but might explain, you know, your poor performance lately or whatever, and she'll just completely understand or go out of her way to try to understand by asking questions and stuff.
That's good.
Of managers. So that's a personal example of what he or she expects of others. I unfortunately would have to give her about a 6. And I only say that because that is like keeping deadlines and putting emphasis on deadlines and basically having a little bit more structure. She's not that person. She's good in some ways, right? When you're busy and you've got like a high workload and you can't get certain things done, and it's like, oh, well, she didn't say anything about this needing to be done right now, so I'm just not going to say anything either and just finish it when I can. And it's not necessarily always a good thing, though. I think managers need to have that structure developed in their teams and not just kind of, oh, yeah, whenever you get to it, because it really doesn't set a good example. If she's not showing up for audits when she's supposed to, or, you know, runs 15 minutes late to a one-on-one, it's not really setting the best example. So B, seeks out challenging opportunities that test his or her own skills and abilities. I'd probably give her a 9 on that. She goes to different like summits. I think she's going to do a training summit at another roasting plant next week. So there's a lot of management development courses that Starbucks does. She also, I know, has done some like non-Starbucks related types of seminars and things like that, just to learn more about QA and process or certain aspects of it, like RCAs. Yeah, probably about a 9. For C, develops cooperative relationships among the people who she works with. Yes, definitely. She's a 10. She is just a social butterfly, a people person, and just gets along with everyone. D, praises people for a job well done. I'll probably give her an 8. She gives a lot of feedback, but I don't think she goes out of her way to say, hey, great job. But she has, so it's not like a total loss, but she probably more, I guess. E, actively listens to diverse points of view. That's definitely a 10 for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's always down to try and look at something from a different angle, and she takes an actual genuine interest in hearing other people's processes and in ways that they figure out whatever they need to do or get their information. So she's really good with that. F, makes a point to let people know about his or her confidence in their abilities. So does that mean more that she's letting people know that she's confident, or letting other people know that she's confident in them?
I think it's the second one. I think it's her letting you know as her constituent that she is confident in what you can do.
Okay, she's about a 9.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's high up there for that. I mean, our team is so small, and with off shifts, when there's only I'm the only QA on night shift for the whole facility. I mean, that you have to be able to trust the people that you have on your team to get done what needs to get done, right? Because it's not there. So yeah, she's about a G, treats others with dignity and respect. Definitely a 10. H, asks for feedback on how her actions affect other people's performance. Not so much. I might have to give her a 7 on this one. I mean, there might be other types of conversations kind of related to that, but not directly like, hey, I I'm sucking at this because of your actions not doing that or something. It just seems kind of weird. So probably a 7. Experiments and takes risks even when there's a chance of failure. Yeah, I'd probably give her a 9. I mean, part of the nature of QA is to do testing. Sometimes investigative testing. What the question needs to be, and we need to do like a qualifying a rebuild on something, or trying to test out a new process for continuous improvement or something. So we're pretty high up there for that. Jane ensures that people grow in their jobs by learning new skills and developing themselves. Yeah. So they kind of implemented this new system of partner development like in the last month. So it was this huge PDP training, personal development conversations that all the management was supposed like required to have with all of the people on their teams. And it's kind of like the new way that they're doing like mid-year and end-of-year reviews. It's just like a different system. So, but it helps the partner and have a discussion with their manager. Hey, I want to learn this. I want to start developing into this type of role, or I want to get out of this department eventually and move into like supervisor positions. So it'll help their manager or whatever kind of understand the direction that their people want to go and help them reach that goal, which is cool, I think.
That's a really important like morale builder too. You know,
Yeah.
if people don't feel they have upward movement, then they're not going to really try very hard.
Yep, definitely. We have a lot of those positions at State Farm. They just kind of end. Like there's no progression.
Top out.
Yeah, and some people stay there forever, and some people stay there for a very short time. But
Yeah.
we have so many of them that it's really kind of hit or miss. Like, is this one going to stick around or not? Because nobody ever knows.
Well, so, I mean, it's different to different people. Some people's careers are other people's stepping stones to something else. You know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You need, like the worker you were describing. I mean, I think in businesses, they need those type of people that really, they don't really care to develop themselves. I mean, they're all right at their job. They can get the job done for the most part, even if it's not spectacular. They show up, they do their time, they go home. You know, there's people like that. I mean, you need those type of people that are just consistent. You know, they'll just be there forever. You know, They may not be a superstar, but they're reliable, dependable. And then there's other people that if they don't feel like they're going to go anywhere in the company, they're peace out, you know?
Yeah. That too. That's for sure.
So one more for the little one. Gives the members of the team lots of appreciation and support for their contributions. Yes, for the team, she would be a 10. She really does support us as a team, especially when we're getting pushback from everyone because we need them to do a process different and everyone's like, no more work. She'll have our back in that regard. So overall, she's a really good leader.
That's awesome. How long has she been your boss?
I've been here, it's like 3.5 years.
Wow, that's great.
December of 2014. So yeah, like 3.5 years.
Has she been your only boss there at Starbucks for what you're doing?
She's our only manager. She did take a TLA role doing something for Tibana she's been back like 5 weeks, but for the 6 months before that, she took a TLA role, which meant our QA specialist had to take a TLA QA manager role, and then one of our techs took the TLA specialist role. Everyone just kind of moved to watch.
Yeah.
So our specialist, she was probably different from her in the way that she had more of that structure that we needed as a team. She's very direct and to the point. She wouldn't, unless she wanted to, she wouldn't really have a drawn out conversation or ask more personal questions. She was just very objective and very scientific, which makes sense for her because her degree is in microbiology.
Whoa.
So yeah, so she has a background in QA, but a lot of it is in like dairy, wet process. But
oh, really?
That's crazy. I actually just watched a video today on how cheese is made. It was fascinating.
Yeah, she's got some horror stories too. She's like, you don't want to get this product or that. And she's like, Kroger's probably the best for the cleaning facility. And yeah, you see some gross stuff.
I bet. Yuck.
We have a Dannon yogurt by our factory, and it always smells really bad. Yeah, it smells really bad.
It smells bad?
Yeah.
We have a few factories here, and I live in a pretty small town, so it's weird that we have so many, but we have Purina dog food, and that smells horrible. It's so bad, especially in the summer. It is just like literal hot garbage. It's so gross. But we also have Nestle, so then that one is pretty good. I don't think it's Nestle anymore. It's whoever owns it now. I mean, it's still candy, but
Mars?
I'm sorry?
Where do you live again?
I live in Bloomington, Illinois.
So I know it's like a whatever Mars Corporation or whatever, they do pet food and candy and stuff. So it just sounded familiar, like it might be Mars.
They're in two different plants, but I mean, I guess if they might be the same. I don't know. But yeah, maybe it's not Purina. I always thought it was, but I know it's dog food.
They might actually package that. Like they can get bulk product and package product for Purina.
Yeah.
Like Purina will just pay them to package and ship their stuff. Like companies do that a lot too.
Yeah, I wonder. Now I'll have to look it up. But growing up, I live right by the candy factory. So when I'd like go on the bus in the morning, oh my gosh, it smelled so good. Like every day. Oh my gosh, it was awesome. It was really great. But yeah, I know they have Skinny Cow products out there right now. So whoever makes that, I guess, they're making that too.
Yeah, it's crazy if you really start researching different companies on like all the sub companies that they have under it and all the brands that they business with. It's just crazy. Like places you'd never think would be making product or packaging things for another place. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have absolutely no experience in factories of any kind, so you guys both have that over me.
You've never been around it, like to step into a manufacturing facility is pretty cool. You're just like, wow, like look at all the huge equipment and just it's a cool process to look at it. When you've been there a while, you're like,
No biggie.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, the insurance industry is riveting.
It's Jake from State Farm.
Hey, so Jake from State Farm is a real dude. His name is really Jake. He lives in our town. And he okay, so we're going to digress here for a second. You have to know this. Okay, so he worked at State Farm for like 2 weeks before he got that gig on that commercial. And so they go down to Florida. He films the commercial there. He comes back to town. He quits his job at State Farm. He works as a bartender at a bar I actually went to last night, and then moved out to LA to try to act after that commercial. Doesn't work out. He moves back to Bloomington, and he's bartending again at that bar, and then he goes back to State Farm, and I actually trained him probably about a year and a half ago. And he wears the outfit. Like, he wears the
red shirt.
But his name is really Jake. His last name is Stone. His name is Jake Stone. That's his name.
No way. We talk about that commercial all the time at work.
Yep. He's a real dude.
That's
tell him that story.
Yeah. So, yep, he's a real guy. He's an underwriter now, so.
What does she say? Well, Jake, you sound hideous.
You sound hideous. He sounds hideous.
Yeah, he's.
Oh God.
Okay. She says she sounds hideous.
Yes. Well, she's a guy, so.
It's so funny.
It is.
Well.
All right.
We should get back to it. Krista, you got another.
Through this other. So I'll just give like a little background on dude. So it's a guy on my team. His QA background is more in pharmaceutical. I just don't really care for the dude. at all, like the way he works. And he used to be like an inventory manager, I think, but he keeps telling it like his thing is, oh, I was a manager for 20 years. No, you weren't, dude.
Not anymore, guy.
You were an inventory manager, and it's like kind of doing a leadership role or management role and then going to where you're basically just a tech.
Yeah, that'd be hard.
Yeah, so myself and the other people on the team are constantly like, he won't come to us with things. He sends emails privately to like the specialist and manager, like he wants credit for things and doesn't want anyone to know, or just not being cooperative, giving information, because it's like it's just that feeling like he doesn't have to answer to us, so he's just not going to. It's very arrogant, kind of passive aggressive in some regards, but I just don't care for him too much. I mean, if you ask him like small talk, it's great. He's a nice enough guy. We'll drive safe, take care, have a good weekend, you know, all that superficial stuff. If I just stick to that, then I can tolerate him. So that's that guy. So for sets a personal example of what he or she expects of others, I'd have to apply that to his role as QA and how like other departments that we support would look at the job that he does. I'd probably give him a 7. He's good about explaining processes to people, but he does much. We have training binders with instructors. Sometimes I have to go over the answers or have a discussion about like SOP. And I could just ask the person, all right, well, you got 100 on this assessment. Do you have any questions? Is there anything you want to know? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, we'll move on. Well, this dude will just straight up go through everything and like have an hour-long conversation. It's just too much. So too much can be a bad thing too. So seeks out challenging opportunities that test his or her own skills and abilities, I'd probably give him an 8. Depending on what it is, he's pretty interested in learning about new things. Sometimes I'll see like books on his desk, or he might go on a website and look up something outside of our company to kind of research a process that we use, but like how other companies do it. So he's pretty good at that. Develops cooperative relationships among the people he or she works with. What do I give him for that?
3, 2,
Well,
1.
Well, aside from how I feel about him, I have to be fair, right? I have to kind of be objective and look at relationships with all people, not just like making this question personal. I'd say probably a 6 or 7. It's like he does, but it's like people on his own team, I guess the people outside of our team don't really see the things that we see, I guess is the best way to say it. So in that regard, his people on his shift would probably feel like he does develop cooperative relationships, and they're probably just fine with it. Praises people for a job well done. No, I'd probably give him a 4. Actively listens to diverse points of view. Yes and no. I'll give him a 6 on that. If he's interested in talking about something, he'll want to hear your point of view. Otherwise, I've kind of been in situations where I'm just completely dismissed. He'll turn away from me and just start typing on his computer, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah.
Bummer.
Treats. So it makes it a point to let people know about his or her confidence in their abilities. No, I don't think I've seen him do that anyway. I'd probably give him a 4. Treats others with dignity and respect. Yeah, we're gonna go with like a 2 on that. Asks for feedback on how his or her actions affect other people's performance. That's a big fat 1.
Oh man.
Never asked for feedback. He never asked, well, personally, he's never asked me for my help or my input, even if it comes to like programs that I'm the subject matter expert on. It's like, really, dude, you could just ask me, but he won't. So
That's
yeah.
too bad.
Experiments and takes risks even when there's a chance of failure. No, that one reminds me of what you were talking about, Liz, with your coworker. Just does not want to fail. He's afraid of looking stupid in front of people because he's seen as this like super intelligent guy, and anything that would compromise people feeling that way about him would just be like taboo. So he does not really take risks like that because he doesn't want to fail. Yeah. That's a big one. So Jay ensures that people grow in jobs by learning new skills and developing themselves. For training, I think he's pretty good with people in other departments, not necessarily us. So I'd probably give him about an 8 for training because he is passionate about making sure people have the information they need. He just kind of does too much, but I'll give him an 8. And gives members of the team lots of appreciation and support for their contributions. Big fat 1.
Bummer. That's too bad.
Yeah.
There's always one, sadly. Would you agree that he has taught you lessons like my contrast?
It's like you. It's for tolerance, for it's like if I let his crap get to me, it's not affecting him. It's like resistance or like peeing your pants. You're the only one that feels it. So being upset about it isn't bothering him. It's just making it suck for me when I'm there and I have to hear him talk about something that's stupid or yeah. So I've definitely learned a lot of patience and with that dude over the few years that we've worked together.
Yeah, and I at least appreciate having that experience now versus like when I do take on a leadership role and have to deal with somebody like that. I mean, I'm sure the dynamic will be different, but like at least I can try to remember what I've been, what I've gone through already with that person. And I don't know. And it's even hard to say like as a leader how I would handle that because I'm sure like I know the leader that I had when this girl was my peer, like didn't see what we saw, even though we tried in very nice ways to like mention things.
A different person to the manager, a completely different person to that manager.
Yeah, which is just craziness. But I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to see when we get thrown in the fire. And I don't know. I just hope that I'm at least not naive enough to fall for what I know my leader did. So, but I guess it's very possible that I could be.
Yeah, it's the same with this dude. There's the things that the way that he is and things that he says and does to the rest of the team. The manager just does not see it. And we've had, like, the other 3 of us have had discussions like, how can Christiane and Jessica not see this? Like, how can they not know that he's doing this or that? It's like they put on a front. They put on like a different for management. It's like he has to answer to them, so they get all the respect and attention that he could possibly give. And then when me or Shauna need to explain something, it's like we just get dismissed. It's like, you might want to listen, dude, because manager's not always here to help support you in what you need to get done. That's why you need to rely on your team. And when you're such a small team, you can't afford to not be able to lean on your team for help.
Sure.
It does suck, and I get it. Yeah.
Lessons. They're all lessons.
All right, shall we move on?
Yes.
Do you have anything else to add, Wes?
No. You guys are doing great.
You're doing great too, Wes. Great job.
I'm so tired.
I'm sure. You worked 12 hours today.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're fine.
We're almost done. We got like 20 minutes.
Yay. All right, let's get through so Wes can go to bed.
Let's see here. I'll start. So it says, please use the LPI questions below, and any additional LPI questions from the complete list to self-assess, evaluate yourself based on A, only the last 2 weeks, and B, the past year according to your actions in your given team or social group, and then discuss amongst each other. So we'll do that. So we're supposed to basically do like a self-reflection on where we are now compared to where we were a year ago.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. Sets personal example of what he or she expects of others. I try and do that a lot. I'd give myself an 8 for that. I think that's why I became the lead on my crew, because I was always kind of like hitting the goals that we need to get when other people didn't take it as serious. So I'd say that that's been the same throughout. Seeks out new challenging opportunities that tests his or her own skills and abilities. I would say I did that more in the beginning than I do now, because I don't know, my job is there's only so much work that we can do on the weekends because we don't have the support to do it all, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're on nights. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So, like, we're very, very limited on what we can do. And so I haven't really been able to, like, stretch out my wings on a lot of the other stuff because there's not enough support to do it, or they just don't do that work on the weekends. Because
was that a work pun, Wes?
The what?
Stretch out your wings.
Oh, I got it. Because I build wings. I get it. All right. Yeah. So we don't get we get to do our job, and I feel like we're all getting pretty good at it to the point where it's like, all right, we need to do something else. Like we're getting kind of, it's like monotony is setting in, and we're getting a little complacent almost, a little bit.
That's a bummer.
Develops cooperative relationships among people he or she works with. From now, and I think that I don't know. I feel like a year ago when I got my lead spot, you know, you really have to kind of make sure you have those cooperative relationships, or they're not going to vote you in the beginning. And now that I have it, I don't think that much has changed. At least I haven't heard anything from them, any negative things from them. So I would say that that's the same. I'd give that like a 7 or an 8. I think the thing that I need to work on more now is praising people for a job well done. I kind of just expect them to do their job sometimes, and I don't really praise them as much as I should.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I probably did it more because we were still learning. Everybody was fairly new at the process. We've only been on the shift for like 3 years. Well, actually 2.5 years. And it hasn't really changed as far as how many people have gone. We only have like 7 people on our shift.
I can't believe you've been doing that so long.
Yeah, and it's kind of like there's like 4 processes that we do, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they're big processes, they're important processes, but you kind of get, for me, like praising people for a job praising people for a job well done. I think I need to work on that more now.
Yeah, that would be a good challenge for you maybe this week for your worksheet. Like if you are doing thought bubbles or something, you could make that one of your interactive elements for this week.
Oh, is that what we got to do? I haven't even looked.
I mean, the interactive thing, I've been doing thought bubbles for myself, like things that I want to be mindful of for the week. Okay. So, I mean, we have 12 to do this week if you've looked at the worksheet. 12.
Are you talking about, the worksheet thing? Okay, yeah, for the final. That's what
I don't want to look at it.
What'd you say?
I don't want to look at it. No.
Yeah, it's 12. It's the longest one we've had so far. So there's one. Do a thought bubble to praise your people this week.
I'm a meme guy. I've been doing some sweet memes.
You know.
Yeah, I need to do that more. I need to work on that.
There you go.
All right. Actively listens to diverse points of view. That's kind of hard for me because we have a lot of diverse points of view. I mean, we run the gamut from super liberal to super conservative.
That would be hard.
And it's hard because it always comes up in discussion. I hate talking about politics at work.
Yeah.
So for me, I need to work on that too. I'd give myself a 7.
What do you think in terms of, like, not politics, but say if you're trying to improve a process that you have at your facility and you feel like this, and this could improve it, and then someone else is like, well, I don't agree with that. I think doing it this way would be better. I mean, that's kind of how I figure a diverse point of view would be.
Yeah, you're probably right. And I think that that's true. I think a lot of people on my career, they get stuck in their ways, you know, and if there's an ounce of extra work that is included in you know, if it's a process improvement that might benefit like someone down the line that might not benefit us, and it's like a 2-second extra step, they'll still fight it. You know what I mean?
That's a bummer. I feel like that's really, really common, though.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think people get stuck in their ways, and then they just like to do their thing, you know?
Well, and I even think I'm guilty of doing that myself. Like, I know I could do homework that I'm going to do tomorrow today, but no, that's future me's problem. Not gonna.
That's Sunday's work.
Yeah. Sundays. Oh, man. That worksheet kills me every week.
She's kind of been hitting me on it too a little bit lately.
Oh, really?
On the grading, yeah. Probably because, I don't know, I think my motivation is...
A lot of work for like 10 points.
I know. It really bums me out. It really bums me out. And then when I saw that we've got 12 to do this week, I was like, oh, 12. But I really liked the workload was less this week.
It was. I think the tests were way, way better.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Mrs. Dana?
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
All right. So a year ago, treats others with dignity and respect. I feel like I always try and do that. I'm a big proponent of treat others how you want to be treated. And I try to remember that even when it's sometimes difficult to remember that, you know, when you get kind of frustrated. And I'd give myself a 9 with that. That's really important to me because I feel like that always comes back to bite you.
Yeah, probably very true.
Ask for feedback on his or her own actions. How his actions affect other people's performance. I probably don't do that. I probably should. I get feedback from my boss, but I don't get feedback from my peers. I guess the feedback that they give me is they vote me in again next time.
Oh, that's sweet.
And that's like basically their way of saying you're doing a good job. I would say I probably should work on that. I'd give myself a 7 on that. Experiments and takes risks. I like to experiment and take risks and make sure that the processes that we're doing are sound and they're following all the guidelines that we need to follow. But I definitely like to think out of the box on cost saving measures and stuff. And I've been doing more of those, especially for materials, because we burn through so much material.
That's awesome.
So I'd give myself probably a 6 a year ago, and I'd give myself a 7 or 8 now on that. Ensures people that grow in their jobs by learning new skills and developing. And that's kind of goes back to, we only have a few jobs that we can do over our shift. And I think everybody's kind of learned everything they can know. Unless we could get more work in the building, and then we could probably do other stuff, which I think we're working on.
That adds to that when you feel like you're maxed out on what you need to know and do for your position.
Yeah, you're right. Gives members, teams lots of appreciation and support for their contributions. I think I'm doing pretty good about that. I bring them food. If someone has an anniversary or we have a lot of people that have been there 5-10 years, and we've had a lot of 5-year anniversaries with the company and stuff. We try and do a barbecue or something for them. And like I said, there's only 7 of us, and that's including my manager on the shift. So there's not really many people to do that for. But yeah, we try and do that. I'd say I'd be like an 8 on that.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Krista, you want to go next? You want me to go?
You went. The order was Wes, you, me.
Okay. All right. So this will be kind of weird for me because in the last 2 weeks, this is the only time I've been on my team, and then a year ago was my old team. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be easier. I'm not sure. Sets a personal example of what he or she expects of others. Right now, I would say that's probably an 8. I try to at least behave accordingly. There's not a whole lot. Like I'm coming on this team as a business analyst, and there are a bunch of like actual coders and developers, so it's not quite the same, but at least be respectful and timely and all that kind of stuff. So I'd say 9. And a year ago, I'd say the same. Actually, a year ago, I'd probably say 10. Seeks out challenging opportunities. That's a 10 now. Was a 10 later. I don't like to be bored. I like to stay busy, and that means looking for things to do or things to learn. Develops cooperative relationships. Get 10 for both. I'm also a chatter. I love to talk, and that hasn't changed at all. Praises people for a job well done. That seems condescending right now where I'm at. So I would say right now that's probably like a 5.
You should tell all the coders, you're doing such a good job.
I know. That would be weird right now if I did that. Yeah. There was an email that I sent out, and one of the guys virtually reached out to one of the guys that's local and was like, "Who is this chicken? What does she want?" Like, dude, she's on our team now. It was really funny. Praises people for, I already did that one. Oh, wait. Well, I guess a year ago, I would say that's probably an 8. We're mostly virtual, so it's a little more difficult to like reach out and say, hey, you did a great job on this. But on emails, I just like reply all like, thanks, everybody. You did a great job, whatever. E actively listens to diverse points of view. I can listen. I don't know that I really take it very well all the time, but I listen at least. Like I would give someone the platform to say it, and sometimes it's great, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I totally changed my mind, but not always. So I would say that hasn't changed, and it's probably, I'd say it's probably a 7. I will definitely listen to you. I may or may not agree. Makes it a point to let people know about her confidence. I would say that's probably the same for both. That would be, actually, I'd say it's more now. I would say it's 9 now and probably an 8 a year ago. You guys are super, super like stupid amounts of smart. So I'm like, you got it, you do it. Just let me know how I can help. Like I don't know what you're doing. Treats others with dignity and respect. I would hope that's the same, and I'd say out of 10 most of the time, at least. So maybe 9, very often. Ask for feedback. Now I would say this is a 9. A year ago, I would say a 7. My mentor this year kind of taught me how to get outside of my comfort zone and work more on seeking feedback. So that's what I've been really working on in the last, I'd say probably 6 months. It's hard to be vulnerable and ask for feedback, but I've learned a lot, so that's good. Experiment and takes risks. Right now, that'd be way low because I'm still like in orientation, so I'd say that's at a 2. But a year ago, I would say that's probably an 8 usually. Ensures that people grow in their jobs by learning new skills and developing themselves. Again, that would be weird in the last 2 weeks, so I would say that's probably a 1 for me right now, but a year ago would have been probably an 8. I like to, like I said, I don't like to be bored. I like to stay busy, so that means I'm looking for like trainings or anything that's available. Our company does a lot of like online training and classes, and if I find interesting ones, I'll share them with people. Like, hey, I took this class. It only took an hour. Learned a lot. Whatever. Here it is. Whether or not they do it, I don't know. Lead a horse to water kind of thing. And last one, give members of the team lots of appreciation for their support and contributions. I think both would be 9. I like a team environment, and I want people to know that I appreciate them, especially if it's something like they've helped me out on or something. I'm also one of those people that apologizes too much, and I think I do both of those like the same amount, like kind of annoyingly enough. So, okay, that's it for me.
Okay, try to hurry.
4 whole minutes.
So, put my last year to 2 weeks in context. Last year ago, I was not necessarily in a good place. I was having a lot of medical issues, being diagnosed with different mental health things. So there was a lot of different medication that affected my ability to concentrate, self-awareness of certain behaviors. So it's going to be quite different between a year until now. So I was feeling a lot about a year ago. So that's a personal example of what he or she expects of others. A year ago, no, I would probably give myself a 1 or a 2. I just was stressed out all the time, so I'd just be showing up, doing what I had to do just to get out of there as quickly as possible. And now, I'd probably give myself an 8. Just being aware of how your behavior affects others, and being aware that the things that you do, that somebody is always watching. And it just becomes a habit of behavior when you do things that, how would you like to look at someone? Do you want to look at someone, being mean or kind of separating themselves from the group, or do you want to see people, building relationships and building trust and having conversations openly and comfortably with each other? So I try to remember that. So a big difference there. Seeks out challenging opportunities that test his or her own skills and abilities. A year ago, again, pretty low, probably 2. Now, I would say it's still pretty low, about a 4. So I mentioned earlier we had all these partner development conversation things that we're doing lately, and I told my boss, I was like, with school right now, I was like, there's things that I do want to develop myself with, but like just being in school right now, I just don't have the mental capacity to be able to focus on that until I'm done.
You're on the upswing, you're improving from one to the next,
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
She made the comment to me not that long ago. She's like, you seem to struggle more when you're taking classes. Like, yeah, a little bit. So she gets it, and it's kind of like a mid-year. So by the end of the year, it might be a different story. I might be ready to, okay, I want training on this. I want to learn that. Can you help me with this and that? And,
Yeah.
I'd be in a mindset to be able to do that. But,
Almost done. We all graduate this year. Yay.
Right. So develops cooperative relationships among the people I work with. So a year ago, I had cooperative relationships, but there was a lot of times where I didn't want to be teamsy, and not just within my own team, but with like the departments that I support. Like I kind of eat lunch alone, and back then it was worse because I'd either be in pain or just be having a crappy night, and I do what I need to go do, and of course I'd tell people, if I'm here to help. If you need me, just call me, and I'm going to be in the lab. I kind of separated myself from people more, and now, yeah, I definitely like building those cooperative relationships with people, because they're your biggest ally. When you rely on other people to help you do your job, you need to be able to have that cooperation and respect from people to be able to go to them and say, hey, I need to get this done. Would you be able to kind of move some things around and do it quicker? And they're like, yeah, no problem. Or it's just an example. So a year ago, probably a 1, and I give myself a 9. for that now.
Good.
Praises people for a job well done. So even a year ago, I would still say a 6. And now, still an 8. It's again one of those things that I agree with Wes and you. It's just, there's always room for improvement with that. So at Starbucks, we have bags of coffee we can give to people. You give like a little, it's called a Green Apron card, and it has like different Starbucks values on them. And you kind of pick the one that partner embodied for that action or whatever they did.
Oh, nice.
So it's a way that it's like a partner to partner recognition system. So if I feel like someone helped me out when they didn't have to, or they did a really good job, or went the extra mile, I can give them a bag of coffee, and it's cool. It makes people feel good, and it's Starbucks' way of recognizing partners too. Aside from just saying, "Hey, thank you very much. You did awesome. You rock," whatever. But again, it's one of those things that we all can.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Kind of get stuck in the moment, when you're working, and you don't really think about it sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. So actively listens to diverse points of view. I'm with Liz on this one. I am definitely down to have a conversation. There's people that will give you pushback. Sometimes even those conversations are fun because they help you grow, having a disagreement. It doesn't necessarily mean I'll agree, but I will definitely hear somebody out and respect their opinion to their point of view, just because I know that I'd want them to respect my point of view even if they don't agree with it. That's the reality, right? Not everyone's going to agree on everything.
Yeah.
A year ago, still pretty low, probably a 3, just because I didn't really try to engage in a whole lot of conversations with people. I'd say a 9, because I am more social, I guess, now. So F makes it a point to let people know about his or her confidence in their abilities. A year ago, probably a 2. Now about an 8. It's kind of a weird one, though. I mean, I let people coming to someone for help is kind of, I guess, your way of saying without saying that I respect your abilities to do this function that I can't do. That's why I'm coming to you and asking you to do it.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be a way. Treats others with dignity and respect. A year ago, even in a crappy mood, I would still do my best to at least, the interactions that I did have. So I'd say about a 6 or 7, and now it's a 9 or 10. I mean, it's kind of, there's some guilt with that, because I know that there were times when I was just in a crappy mood, and a lot of times I wasn't aware of it. So, I don't know, people might have taken that as disrespectful. But anyway, so, all right, H, ask for feedback on how his or her actions affect other people's performance. A year ago, 1. Now, 10. I was getting so much feedback without asking a year ago, because my boss was like, someone said you had an attitude, or someone said you were being mean. I'm very direct. I would like more people to be more direct and just say what they mean or say what they feel, whether or not it sounds bad. I respect directness. Other people don't. So I'll ask people for feedback on, hey, how am I doing? Hey, do you still see any issues with the way that I'm doing things, or behavior or whatever? Because I want to know now. Like back then, I didn't want to deal with things.
That's awesome that you've grown in that way.
Yeah, it's like now I want to know, because I don't want to be that person. You know what I mean? So experiments and takes risks even when there's a chance of failure. That's always been pretty high for me. I'd say even a year ago, I'd say a solid 8. So recently, a lot of our testing, we're testing for failures. There's testing that we do on like skill strength for bag. bag integrity. I mean, we'll purposely fail testing just to see how far we can, take something, or how much force does the seal can it take before it breaks or pulls apart. So there's probably a little bit of a different context than traditional failure.
Sure.
So I'd say solid 8s. All right, J, ensures people grow in their jobs by learning new skills and developing themselves. We help train people, but I wouldn't say that my role would be to develop people. I don't know. I feel like that one's kind of not applicable. And K, gives members of the team lots of appreciation, support for their contributions. And yeah, kind of like I was saying with the bags of coffee, I think it's harder in your immediate team to give that recognition and say, hey, I appreciate what you do. A year ago, that was probably about a 1 or 2, and now it's a 10. Even dude that I don't care for, I just try to kill him with kindness. And even though, I'll ask him to do something, and I'll like kind of really lay it on thick. You really helped me out a lot. If you could take care of this for me, would you be able to do that? Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so, and I kind of do a little more with him just because it's just better that way than for me to be a bitch.
Yep. It works out. People are more receptive that way. Even when it's like your fakest of fake, killing them with kindness kind of thing, but it's better than the alternative. All right, y'all, we did it. And then some.
Yeah, so it says that we got to submit this and then a few sentences. So I guess we should all submit this link that I send you guys, and then we'll submit a few things that we talk about, I guess.
Yep, business as usual.
All right, have a good one.
Right on. See you guys.
Bye.